Surviving Addiction is a book that you most probably want to have on your shelf. You know his name, Qute Kaye, and he's the author. And he joins us on the podcast this episode, this month, when we've decided to relaunch season 2 of Mind Your Head. Qute Kaye, many thanks for allowing to be on the podcast.
It's an honor. I'm very, very honored to be here. Thank you for having me. Believe me, thank you very much for having me.
Sheila, it's been quite 2 weeks of a breather.
One. It's been 1 week. I came, as we're driving here, I came singing. Dun, 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 dun.
Oh, the song.
I was trying to teach someone, a Gen Z, that these were the things that kept us going, the music that we listened to. Yeah. So thank you for the good music.
You're welcome. Thank you very much.
I think it's one of the incredible songs that if played today, it would sound like new.
Yes.
Mikwano Jinkese.
Yeah.
Actually, I find it more relevant now than then.
Than it was then.
Yes.
Okay. Sheila, I hope you're well. So, Qute, what's your journey like? I mean, what you've gone through, and I said I'll say this on the podcast.
Yes.
One of the investigations that made me an investigative journalist is I went down in the ghettos and I had you on camera.
Yes.
I would never think that you'd ever sit on the same set with me.
I know, right?
And not that I was doing really a bad thing, but
I do not believe that anybody who did something to expose my addiction, it doesn't matter what they thought they were exposing it for then. They could have been exposing a fallen star. They could have been exposing a dysfunctional life, somebody who has lost it entirely. But believe me, ultimately, they were pushing me saying, hey, we know, you don't belong there. Pull up your socks, do something about this. It could be hard for you, it could be whatever it is, but you better do something about it. You do not belong. That's not where it's supposed to be. That's not where it ends. Actually, I remember on that very note, one time I told myself, after a lot of stories in my head and things, now I'm in rehab, I told myself, before I went to rehab, I took myself to rehab and knocked at the gate and told them, guys, I need help. And I got it, thank God. But before that, I told myself now, when I came to Kampala, I have a long story coming to Kampala. We used to stay in Mukono, and myself, I moved from Mukono, and I was young. I began when I was really young because I had to work for myself through my parents, got busy. My father works away, my mother away, so I stayed home. Now I had to look after young people. Well, long story, I had to grow up quite quickly. Now, I had to move from Mukono to Bweyogere to get closer to town because I would have to trek from Mukono to Sabrina's pub to come and sing karaoke, or Garden City at Alligators, or the Deep in Tinda, Sax Hotel, Sax Pub, those places. But I would have to always walk. So I kept walking closer and shifting closer to Kampala. I moved to Bweyogere, I moved to Nakawa, I moved to Chitintale, basically, but to get closer. So I told myself, as I was coming to town, I had a dream. I had a reason why I was coming closer to Kampala. I wanted to sing, and I was singing. What went wrong? Where did I go wrong? What's going on? Many times I would be crying, smoking in the ghetto, but not happy. Well, good enough you were there, you saw me, the people I was with. Of course, I had become one of them, and, well, ultimately, I had become one of them, but it's not where I had planned to be. I'd never would have dreamed about,
Because Qute Kaye name coming on stage, making the crowds go crazy. And I know, Sheila, this is a conversation that is very close to your heart because you have relatives, you've said it before on the podcast, that struggle with the same issue. And when you mention Qute Kaye and the name, when it gets on stage, the crowds go crazy. And all of a sudden, you are in another picture that we do not...
The opposite.
Yeah, we would not see in ever.
At all, something nobody can imagine. So, but everybody, like I was saying, everybody who tried to do that, they were pushing me to rethink my priorities, my actions. How do I go from here? Okay, now I am here. Well, in recovery, the 12 steps say acceptance is the first step. So I had to accept, like I told you, I went and knocked and told them, guys, I have a problem and I failed to do something about it. So they told me, you can do something about it. Can you help me?
Yeah.
Qute Kaye, maybe just for someone that did not get the opportunity to see the star that was and still is. How do you, briefly, how do you get on stage and how do you then move to that journey that you do not or did not like before getting to recovery?
Well, like I was telling you about when I came to town, slowly by slowly I got into town, and then I won Mr. Sabrina's. I think that was 2006, and then I won Mr. Spears. Well, that was the first thing I remember, winning a TV and some money. Mr. Sabrina's, I won a record deal and money still, and then free food and things at Sabrina's every day. That was a good one, you know, coming to Kampala when there is food for you. That was a good thing. So after that, I worked with the Hip Hop All Stars on a project. That was Mother Africa. It was an album by GTZ. And we released the song Mother Africa, which I was on the chorus of the song. And I sang, oh, Mother Africa and my brother, tell our sister to come on together. Stop hating because we're getting farther. Whoever thought we'd get this better. And we won 2, I think, awards. Cora and Palm award then. Yes. Yeah, Cora was in South Africa. Cora Awards. It was all Africa.
Yeah.
We won one and then we won one here as well. And then next I did a song, was called Better Tomorrow. It was a song about awareness. I didn't win, but I was nominated in the Kisima Awards in Kenya. You can never fight and win when you don't know what you're fighting. Please, parents, tell your children what they're up against. Tell them how to fight. Tell them how to avoid it. Ambia watoto wako ubaya wa ukimwi. Mugambire na bana banyu ebyaha AIDS. Mubagambe banarana. Atera banekuma. Let's fight for a better tomorrow. It was a song about Steve, you know. And well, it went like that. And then after that, I recorded Jinkese as a single.
And then you exploded like an atomic bomb.
Yeah, indeed, I did. I recorded Jinkese, and well, he said it's an album, so probably I shouldn't go into those details. And after that, I was all over with the TV, the radio, and everywhere, singing. And then I released more songs because the album had more songs. It had Gwendota, Njagala Muwala, Osindisa Stamye, Jetwasookera.
Now that you mention all of them, I realized now each of
You
them
remember
in the entire album
Yes.
was a hit.
Yeah, the entire album was, because it stayed around for a very long time. So I released those other songs, and well, it kept going on and going on. At some point, the transition into the ghettos, I remember the first time I smoked passively, it was some people I was working with. That's the thing that fame, it will bring money to you. Say, I call it visibility. It will bring money to you, but it also attracts a lot of other things. It attracts friends, and these friends, everybody has intentions. They have their own habits. They have their own purposes and intentions, which are not yours. So ultimately, if you're not careful, that's me getting lost in the crowd. So the first time I smoked passively, I got high on weed. I was going for a performance, and I have written these things in the book.
So did you smoke because you were preparing for your performance, or you were just hanging out with friends and decided we'll just have a smoke and...
No, listen. So these guys, they used to smoke behind my back because I come from a born-again background. My parents, my grandfather has a church, my uncles, pastors, apostles, and bishops. So I never used to drink or smoke. So these people knew my
background.
Yes, and they knew my boundaries. So they would smoke behind my back. And every time we'd go for a performance, the first smoke, and then come into the car, we'd go for a show or wherever. But this time we came back, we were late. I told them, guys, we are very, very late, and they were calling me where I was supposed to be. So I told them, let's run. I just picked up a shirt and a different set of shoes or so. Told them, let's go. And while we were going to the car, they told me, we need to come clean. We cannot go for those things without smoking. Smoking what? Smoking some weed. Since when? Well, we've been smoking behind your back because you complain a lot, but you see, we smoke and there is nothing that has ever happened because you never know and we've never done anything wrong. So that's our way. Okay. So we need to smoke before we go. I said, we don't have time. What do? We need to smoke. Unfortunately, I caved in. There is, I think it's Napoleon Hill. He says, when you go for a walk with somebody, something unspoken happens. You either adjust to their pace or they adjust to your pace. You cannot start walking together when you're both walking at the same pace immediately. One of you adjusts. Reason I say that is because I believe somebody out there who can hear this, it could help you at some point. You observe the people that you are working with, the new relationship that you're starting. Are you adjusting to somebody's pace or are they adjusting to your pace? So you decide whether they stay or go. Well, I adjusted to their pace. I accepted, and they sat in the car. I said, you can smoke in the car. When they started to smoke, the weed was going out. People were looking, and they knew my car. So I locked up the windows and we put on the AC. They smoked up to where we were going in Mugongo. By the time we got there, I was laughing like a fool. I was hungry. I was so weak. I actually remember I couldn't drive anymore. I was high. I didn't know I was high first. Nasoka and I'm just laughing and all over. I don't know why. Until, they look at me and they tell each other, and they tell me, you're high. Why would you do that to me? Anyway, that was my first time to smoke.
And you had to perform.
You don't know, I didn't perform. I couldn't
Really?
stand. Yeah, I didn't.
Because it was the first time, so
I couldn't. I just lost it.
Do you blame this on them? Do you blame this on you?
No. That's the wrong one. I don't blame anybody. I don't blame anyone for my addiction. I don't blame anybody.
Because you made the decision.
I did.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, you choose. When you go for a walk with somebody, you either, this thing has this, the perspective, you either adjust to their pace or they add. So you have a say in this. It doesn't matter what it is, but you have a say in. Mm-hmm. So, well, I told you I accepted and just adjusted to their pace, and they dragged me ultimately into crack cocaine and heroin. Mm-hmm. So no, I don't blame them for that. But I didn't perform that day because I was so weak. I told you I couldn't drive anymore. I couldn't focus. My focus, I could knock. If I tried to drive, I couldn't, focus. I couldn't do anything.
Didn't it come at a cost? Because then they paid you to...
It did come at a cost, of course. You can imagine what those people thought.
Yeah.
But I kept away from them when I realized I was that. So they can understand that. I think that was one of the biggest things that caused my addiction to spiral into what it became. It's because I had to keep it as a secret. Because the moment the media fell on it, now that would be, immediately. So now I needed to still sing. I had to still sing because I was making money of it. I love to do it. But now something that I don't understand is happening to me because I didn't know I was addicted. I didn't know the word addiction. This is the honest truth. I didn't know the word addiction. So I
that
always
was the incident. The incident you mentioned was a one-off. And someone could say, okay, it was his first time. He had people around him that influenced him to make it
an everyday thing.
An everyday thing.
To become an addiction.
Yes. How did you?
Now, the reason I started with that is because you asked me, how do I go from the stage into Bakuli, Nakatarake Motoka? What's the transition between there?
Yeah.
This is what I'm trying to tell you. Well, in a few words, if I can, I will try. After that first time, because I kept the same company of people, I didn't smoke again, I told them. They didn't smoke in my car again, but I kept working with them. So ultimately, I started to smoke. Somehow, I cannot even be certain at which point I did get ready and smoke again to stay smoking. But I remember after that, one person told me, Qute, if you drank a beer, you love stage, you can enjoy stage, we see what you do. But if you had a beer, you do not know what you would have to do. That person and the other person and the other, do you see the energy they use? You don't know. You would kill it. So at some point, I started to drink. Because there is a very, very long transition between my stage and the light, the car light incident, stealing a car light, where I was
When
caught.
you speak about the car light, my heart sinks because I remember reporting that story. But also I know a few years later, me finding you in the ghetto when I'm wearing secret cameras. So when you talk about the car light, my heart sinks because by then, man, you were all over everything, every news media, and I remember that story coming out and thinking, wait, what could have gone wrong?
I know, right? Actually, talk about that. that very story that you're talking about, when I was in rehab, after regaining my consciousness, I was in and out of consciousness after my detox for like 2 weeks. After that, and I put my name in Google, somebody's phone, and they brought the stories that everybody was saying. And I resolved to hang myself. And that night, I put a bed sheet. But you guys, you're driving me fast. I'm explaining the other one, then I have to tell this one.
Okay, first go back and then we get to this.
So...
Because we're going to talk about everything in just 25 minutes.
Well, yeah. But it is all in the book. These are the things in that book, honestly. So you could get all of that and more, of course. And then, when someone told me to drink a beer, I started to drink a beer when they suggested a beer. Subliminally, I started to drink a beer. When I was drinking a beer, these things happened in a gap of, say, 7 or 8 years. So it was not this today and tomorrow. No. While I was drinking beer, another person told me, one of the people we used to drink with, they said, you do not know what you're missing. If you drank a beer with a cigarette, the euphoria is amazing. And somehow, over time, of course, there I am, a beer and a cigarette in hand. After a while, somebody told me, guess what? Cigarettes, they cause cancer. This is true. Read at that park. Read at the park. They write it. Harmful to your lungs. Cancer can cause cancer. So
cigarettes these days don't even have the brand. They have the affected lungs on the cover.
But people still smoke. That's how strong addiction is, by the way. So he said, but there is a herb. This one is a natural herb. It just grows in the ground. It doesn't make you sick, nothing, because it's natural, it's God's creation. It's not fabricated in an industry. And that was weed. And there I am with a stick of weed now. And with the stick of weed, later on somebody comes and tells me, you know, you're a celebrity, you smoke weed, sometimes you forget to spray perfume or whatever, and then you're going to smell weed, and it's not good for your reputation. But there is some drug that can make you high, and yet you've not smoked even.
That doesn't even smell.
It doesn't smell. And it's just a one-off. Even in your car, you can just sniff it and you're good to go. Or, you know, you just burn it and you're good to go. You found me in the ghetto doing that one then. On a foil paper with a bong and things. So that one is better. And there I was trying heroin and crack cocaine. And up to this day, that's why when I speak to people, say especially students, when I go to schools, I tell them, be very careful. Actually, in the book, I wrote an acronym that they can use before you use anything. First, ask yourself, what is this? Do I need it? Talk to some people that you know love you in your life. Your parents, tell them about it. It doesn't have to be a secret if you really think it's a good thing. Because that can save you misery and it can save you your life. Because I never, ever asked, what is this? I never asked them what is. Because if I knew that ultimately after this, it will lead me to a car light in Lunguja on the ground. I wouldn't have touched because I was okay.
Okay.
Yes.
I want us to now transition to beyond the car light to when you appeared in church with Pastor Kayanja.
Yes.
And then we're like, oh, thank God he has found help. And then you relapsed.
Actually, the church, that was where my transition began, by the way. 77 days of glory, 77 dogs. I did relapse, but now at the back of my mind, because of the prayers and everything and the experience, I knew at the back of my mind, things are going to be better. Because actually, that's when I went to rehab. Otherwise, before all of this, I had not been to rehab. The story where you found me, now I didn't know about rehab yet. That was all there. And you see, the thing about addiction is because you don't know and it's in your head, you don't even know to look for help. Because it's a disease in your head.
But
in your
wasn't
head.
Family and friends, when they trying to help you and
They
try to take
did.
you to rehab?
They did to go to rehab before. No, I think they didn't know either. Everybody who tried to help me then, they thought the best way to help me was to tell me, why don't you quit? If you don't like it, quit it. If I don't like that food, I stop eating it. If I don't like a cup of tea, coffee, I don't take coffee anymore. I start taking tea. That's how life works. But you see, addiction is more complex than that.
You don't just quit.
Addiction rewires your brain. Addiction is a sickness. It's a mental illness. the brain gets sick, and I am trying to push this home so that people can understand it. They say in recovery that acceptance is the first step to recover, but I tell you, society, acceptance is going to be the first step to recover from this thing that is eating us up, because it is. We might pretend it is not. I tell you, I know now, because I decided to look that side. I know it is. It is. I didn't even decide. Actually, I was chosen to do that. Do you know that 75%, that is according to the statistics last year, 75% of the youth in this country are addicted or abusing some kind of drug? We are the youngest population. If 75 is addicted to something, what does your future look like in your head? Your child, my child, our children, our country. What's next?
So, Qute Kaye, you've decided to document this in a book, and
Yes.
you decided to tell your story.
Yes.
Many people who, especially who are celebrities, would wish, this story keeps silent and they move on with another chapter of their life.
Yes.
Why have you decided to tell your story?
Canary, because for one, if it was not God, the point I reached, you saw it, I was as good as dead. And God decided to let me live. I believe he just introduced a purpose to me. I can't look away. I would be betraying my soul, what I feel I stand for right now. Why I'm alive. Why I can sit. You said you didn't think I would ever sit back here. Nor did I. Why I can sit here was that reason. If I looked away, then I would be denying God who he is to me. And you see, Dr. Robert Sheila in Tough Times Never Last But Tough People Do, he says, life is not about what happens to a man. He says the definition of life is what you do with what has happened to you. Which means things that happen to me, things that happen to you, these are the reasons for you to be alive. God introduces a purpose to you through something happening to you. He's not going to turn and say, Canary, Qute Kaye. He will do something to Kaye and then do something to you, and then you will hear him speak to you and call me over so that me and you do the job of sharing with these people so that a child, a mother can stop crying. I have phone calls, I have messages. If I play to you half of what I have of people who cry, parents who cry, people I was supposed to see yesterday, but I was too tired to see them. And she said, but you can't do this to us, Qute. Please, let's see you, because they've chased him from 2 schools already. Now we took him to the another and they've caught him with weed again. They've chased him. He's just 17 now. We can't take him anywhere. We are afraid. We don't want to take him to prison. We can't take him home. Please, how much should we pay you so we give him to you and you bring him back when he's okay? Guys, it doesn't work like that. I told them I'm so tired, I can't even talk either, because I've been doing other things too today. But I'll see you later. And I was feeling pain doing that. Now, the reason I say is because that pain is there, and me and you have the power to remove that pain, to do something about that pain by doing something. You doing what you're doing, me doing what I'm doing, telling people there is a rehab, telling the people of rehabs to reduce the money, building an aftercare home like I plan to, so that people who are in recovery don't relapse, building rehab which is free by the government or you and me, so that we can be able to give help to the people who don't have the help, the finances, the ability to reach that help. So we reach it there so that this pain can start reducing, so that the pain, the misery can reduce. Now, this is why I had to do what I am doing.
So how are you?
I am all right, thank you. I am fine. God has been so good to me, to be
How
honest.
do you feel after this journey that you've walked?
I am reborn. You know how you feel when you're a new child? That's why every Christmas, ever since, because I've been 9 years sober now. Can you believe it?
Congratulations.
Yeah. When we speak about the car light incident, even when I speak about it with people, they're like, it can't be 9. I remember it like yesterday, and I do too. I remember like it's just yesterday. I remember me, and I'm like, wow, isn't God amazing? So after that, when I go back to the ghettos, every Christmas I go to a different ghetto, and we have a meal with them, the people who are there. And I will give them a few essentials like usual treatment if they have fever. Sometimes they have problem with their teeth to treat, to refill and things. We try to do the little that we can yet while we try to do more. But I go back there only to remember what it was then and how God has been good to me, that he got me out of there and put me
What has helped you the most?
where I am. What has helped me the most is, I think it's total reliance on God, to be honest. Yeah. Total reliance on God. I accepted one thing for sure, and I realize this every day, that I am entirely powerless. I have nothing. I can't do anything.
When
And
people
Sheila,
share these
and
stories,
Sheila, I think that's why for the reach outs that we've done, that's why every journey, especially with the addicts and what, there's God somewhere. Remember when we went to
Yeah,
Costa Rica,
yes.
they were reciting a certain
When
prayer
we
and
went to
everything.
Garuga,
Yeah.
it was good.
The second step to recovery is a recognition of a higher power. Now, some psychiatrists, people who are wise and they studied and researched, they decided to introduce 12 steps to anybody who is going through addiction if you want to recover from it. That if you follow these steps, you have a chance to maintain sobriety. Those are the 12 steps. Now, the first step is acceptance. Once you accept, you begin the journey. The second one is recognition of a higher power. Because this disease is in your head, it's so strong, you will not escape it unless you recognize that there is some other power fighting for you, with you, by you, in you.
When we interact with recovering addicts, when they talk about their story, the turning point for me is the most important, because it's what the person out there is looking out for, probably to be able to receive their healing or start their recovery journey.
Yes.
When you talked about knocking at the gate to go to rehab by yourself, because when we visited Butavika, we saw some saying they were arrested and taken there, they were forced there. You decided that I need to recover. What was your turning point then?
First of all, I was tired of being a circus monkey for the media. That's one. Two, I was done experiencing the pain I was feeling, not for me anymore, but for my family, my mother, especially. One time my mother, she said, she cried and she said, she's afraid of dying, my mom. She doesn't like dying, not at all. She's so afraid of dying. I tell her, what's wrong with you? We are born to die at some point. I know, but I don't want to die anyway. But she cried and she said, God, please, instead of killing my son, he's so young, I am old, take me, kill me, let him live
Oh my God.
some more, please. I am afraid, but take me, let him live now. You do not know how much pain. If I take off my glasses, you would see that I want to cry because I still want to cry again. When I remember that, now that's how much pain I started to have. Now this pain was too much. So I had to do something about it. I needed to breathe. It was like somebody getting my head and now they're holding me in a basin full of water, a swimming pool. Now I had to fight. I was gasping for breath. I had to do something about it. I had to do something about it.
And that's when you walked to the rehab?
Yes, when somebody told me there is a rehab, I said, let's go. You cannot believe I didn't have any money. I put on 2 sandals that were opposite and they were red and blue. I remember so well. My pant, my jean, I had put, what is that called? Chai muluzungu Canary wachita bati. Yeah, the fiber. Nga jeans mamu because I could afford
It's
it.
acting as a belt.
Nga belt tekikyantuuka. Belt ze nayinako nga nazitunda nenzinywamu zaali zeka zikyantuuka. Zaali zandekawo naye ngera nazitunda anyway. Nga nteekamu chai. Mu mpale yange nga nteekamu chai. I'd spent, say, months, oh God, months without brushing or taking a shower. I remember something so vividly. You cannot believe my waist, bed bugs and lice had built around my waist and eaten that it had become like a belt.
What?
I know, right? Yes, it had become like a belt.
And you were not feeling that pain. You had greater pain.
You were numb.
I couldn't feel, I was numb. I couldn't feel the pain. I couldn't. How could I feel another pain when I have to chase a height every day? Because you see, when the body is withdrawing from whatever you've been using, many people die. So it is real. It is not imagined. And these myths I've written about in this book as well. Unfortunately, we can't open the book because it will take all the time. But I've written about, I think it's about 7 or 8 myths about people say about addiction. Because if a parent could understand and you could understand, then you know how to treat the person who is sick.
As we conclude this conversation, you talk about the role of society in your book, which
Yes.
I feel like it's also important.
Yes.
And I think why you write about the myths is that you feel like people do not know.
I know they don't.
They imagine what addiction is, but they do not know what it is.
They don't.
Well, because one, they have not lived it.
Yeah, that is true.
And I think whatever they're doing, for example, say someone coming and tell you, why don't you stop? It's as if, you can just wake up and stop.
Yes.
Why do you think the role of society is important as we conclude this conversation?
The reason I think that the role of society is important is because, unfortunately for you, society, We all affect each other on a daily. That is what life is. If you do not know now, remember that. Anything that happens to Qute Kaye, it affects Canary. It does affect you, my dear. It affects you. Anything that happens to your son. Family is the first unit of society. What happens in your home starts to influence outside your home. That's influencing society. That's influencing a country. And then we go to a continent and then the globe. That's how life operates. That's how life works. So if you do not help me, you will find that bwe nnaaba nzize nga mmaze okukuba omwana amaze okukubwa omwana wo gwe agenda okutema akamba ekiro. The people who kill people at night ababakuba obuyinja ababakuba tteke abo abantu mugoberera ne muba recording abavubuka bakuba abantu tteke ne babayiikira eggaali ne babba ne babakola ebintu. Those people, those guys, most of them are addicted to something. Because you see, it's very easy to manipulate an addict. Because he needs the next fix. Osobola okumuwa omutwalo natta omuntu for 10,000. Kuba agwetaaga. Bw'atagufuna asobola okufa. N'omugamba munfumitiro ekisomwe wali omutayize weetaaga ssaawa meka okunywa ssaawa weenaawerereemu my withdrawals are going to set in. Kagamba kale njazikuwa 12 kitundu naye sooka bw'omala omufumita nze nkuwa omutwalo gwo agenda kujja akufumite agenda kujja bbe amenye edduuka lye amenye emmotoka yo atwale akataala ako Qute Kaye akole ekintu olw'ensonga yeetaaga. So I believe prevention is better than cure. If me and you start to do something as society, ultimately we are cleansing us. Tuyamba ffe crime rate egenda kukendeera obulumi bugenda kendera bw'abazadde ate omwana w'omusomero gy'omusindika. Where you send your child to study is where an addict also is studying, because a parent who has an addicted child era naye agenda musindika musomero lyerimu ekiri abagamba ekiri atabaala n'atudde awaka kimulya. Meaning atudde awaka n'atambudde bonna bafa bwe basaawa ya kufa. So before you know it, addiction is going to be at your door. Why don't you join me and we do something right now?
Qute Kaye, as we conclude, a message to that person that has fallen once, twice, thrice, and they're saying maybe, what message do you have for them?
My message to the person who was addicted, who was relapsed once, twice, the dedication in this book is, I dedicate this book to all those battling addiction and to those who stand by their side in support. Don't give up on hope. Though the path may be hard and dark, remember, this too shall pass. You can and will recover. That's for sure. Canary has told you something that I think everybody should remember who is battling in recovery or relapsing. When he was covering me in the ghettos and he looked at me, he didn't imagine I could sit down here. Now, I think that's a very good example to tell you guys, you too can. It's not so easy, but it's possible. And life is not easy, guys. Don't expect life to be easy. It is not. Yeah. That's a fact. Yeah. Birds eat worms. And that's not fair. Worms have children too. But it is what it is.
Right. Well, a special thanks to the Maze Restaurant, Forest Mall, for allowing us to have this conversation here, and for the amazing service. And also special out to I&M Bank for sponsoring the podcast. We do appreciate that. And yeah, what a journey.
Yes.
We've worked for the last 27
minutes.
And I
hope that the next time that he calls, I'll be part of the people that help. I hope so.
I know, right? Yeah. That would be so amazing.
Yes, thank you so much. And we hope to continue having these conversations. Subscribe, comment.
Yeah, that is true, by the way.
I said when we were starting.
I have a new gospel album. It is a very good one. It is an amazing one. I know you can imagine what's in that album, so find it, but it's not yet out. But I would love to sing something that speaks about what we've been speaking. I know everybody would want to hear me sing Jinkese, but hey, I would love to sing something too, something that communes with somebody there. So I like the song. I just want to speak the name of Jesus till every dark addiction starts to break. For I know there is peace within your presence. I speak Jesus.
Okategedde Canary over.
Singanze nali muyimbi. So when you go on stage, you don't sing a Mikwano Jinkes.
I do sometimes. People still request for it.
Yeah.
I do, because you see,
I told you, Canary, it's more relevant now
Yeah, it is.
because people these
it is.
days
I do sing it
Sheila, I
because
don't know what your friends are going
have
through.
healed.